Okay.
Rollmonger's Actual Play Podcast is proud to present... Sorry, again.
Sure.
Rollmonger's Actual Play Podcast is proud to present Star Wars Sega Edition, Dawn of Defiance campaign. Sorry, I have to scroll down. Starring...
It's okay, keep going.
No, you're ruining it! I'm in the zone! Starring GM Jeff as narrator and game master. I thought there was more. It just kind of it fades on the bottom there, so like it's not as bright as the top part of the text. So I thought, oh, clearly there's more. Wait a minute, is there? There is more! Curse you, buttons.
Keep going.
Starring GM Jeff Ball as narrator and game master, with the players Matt Witt, Ryan Messina, Aiden Willems, Jay Tamlin, and Frank Hamilton, also featuring the voice talents of Connor Bresch, technical support, and censor.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
All right, gentlemen. Camera fades back in. Another few hours trekking through the wilderness. Luckily, your guides, the Felucia natives and Mandrake, know the area, automatically encounter and avoid hazards, and lead us not so far away from, still in the general sort of compass direction of the Imperial outpost, to a Felucian village. And as you break through the under foliage, as it were, we find a hidden village deep within the Felucian jungle. This sanctuary, you guys would be guessing, is home to more than a dozen of the Felucian families, because you see what you believe might be elderly as well as females. And now, led by the former separatist soldier, who is now sort of a hermit here, going by the name of Mandrake, resides in this village, hiding from the Empire. The sanctuary, he tells you, has remained secret in the months since the Empire has taken over. And it's in a place where the Separatists and Felucians can live without fear of Imperial discovery. Mandrake explains that the village is remote enough, and he himself and the village have managed to hide from the Empire since it has recently taken over Felucia. It's out of the way enough.
So, you guys might not necessarily understand why I was so quick to be gung-ho with you all earlier. I feel it is responsible of me to give an explanation. You see, I've been hiding out with the Felucians for quite some time now, because despite their, let's call it a lack of charisma, they're simple, and to be blunt, they're tribal. I kind of like that about them. They look to me as somebody who could defend their tribe when the expletives hit the fan a little bit too fast for them to naturally do. But I gotta say, they're quite natural predators. They're amazing. And as I've said before, just look around. The scenery, the landscape, nothing like it out there. Did you know there is a variant of the Vorzdiak mushroom that grows here? And I'm talking about the famous one that people cook with. I'm telling you, you make a little bit of fire, you collect some of those, you're going to be tasting what kings must have eaten. But, but despite all that, this place rarely gets visitors, so I'm sure when you guys landed, it was quite a shock.
And with those words, quite a shock, they sort of, two of the preceding Mandrake young braves sort of hold back the brush and shrubbery of the jungle floor, and shock is the word, as we literally pour and stumble onto the edge of what appears to be a hidden village. The village appears to have been carved completely out of the massive mushrooms that dominate the Felucian landscape. Each one looks old and petrified, making the mushroom huts appear far more solid than their still living counterparts elsewhere in the jungle. In the center of the village, a number of Felucians gather in a half circle, squatting by a cooking fire and turning to look at you as you enter. Although the village area has been cleared, small mushrooms and other plants still rise up from the ground, as though the jungle itself resists any attempts at civilization. Mandrake leads you into the center, hailing the sitting circle, sort of excusing your interruption, addressing the Felucians in their guttural tongue. And what plays out before you is almost expected. 5 braves went out. Mandrake chased after, only for return These young brave men return to their families, report to their friends, talk about events that happened. A lot of curious natives are looking at us, kind of standing on the edge of the village. Mandrake excuses himself for a moment and says he'll be right back as he goes to seek the leader.
Hey guys, listen. And I'll point to the direction of like some I don't know what the equivalent of it would be, like a fire circle, somewhere in the center of some hut-like mushrooms. And I'll say, if you're cold, if you just need to get comfy, take a break.
Area.
Yeah, that I just described.
Yes, exactly.
When I talk. Okay.
Feel free to relax here. When I come back, I'm going to be looking for you here. I need to run and handle something that I need to be responsible for.
Okay. So he runs off. Picture a whole bunch of those creatures that I showed the picture, fungal guy, sitting cross-legged on the ground around in a half circle around a campfire, and they're all sort of like hands on kneecaps, bodies twisted, all heads turned, just kind of blankly looking at you guys. The 4 braves return. Some sit in the circle, some wander off to other areas of the village, and your guide that speaks Galactic Basic just left. What do you guys do? Rahal.
Is anyone still wounded?
Not on our side. Oh,
I mean, I still have some damage on me, but...
Oh, okay.
How much? Okay, I'll med pack you.
Isn't there so many you can run in 24 hours?
Oh, I don't know. Is there?
No clue.
Doctor? Jay? 1 med pack, 24 hours?
If the skill check succeeds, the attendant creature cannot benefit from additional first aid for 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
So he's had one slapped on him.
He gets to rest tonight.
Okay.
So,
I'm not sure that might happen.
until Jay's called upon, we'll get him to look up.
Oh, wait, we're in the settlement now?
Yep, you're in the village now.
Well,
Do you listen when Jeff talks?
I know, really. Yeah. Thank you, Connor. It's like, okay, here's the box set. The village appears to have been carved almost completely out of.
I'm going to find a quiet corner and change into my pinstripe suit.
Okay. Put on his best dress.
Absolutely. And then once I'm back in my proper attire,
okay,
I'll rejoin the party.
You quite literally, can I have a perception check? You quite literally are at that halfway point. You know what I mean? Like, throw off the boots. You're down to your undies and your socks kind of thing. The jacket, the shirt comes off. You got one thumb under your underoos, galactic underoos belt, and you hear something with a 10, like a rustle, and you look over and you're behind a hut, and on the back of 2 huts over are 3 females kind of like leaning over watching you undress. And
Give them a wink.
Their facial tendrils kind of crimp and giggle.
Shake my ass and continue to get dressed.
Okay. They see they get caught.
Do I feel a disturbance in the force?
No, you're good. Disturbance in the Mushroom Clan, definitely, but no, not in the force.
I was gonna say, how well hidden is he?
He went off behind a hut, but these people have the huts sort of literally pushing back the jungle. People go around 360 the huts doing all kinds of stuff all the time, right? A couple dozen families. Most are in the secret, but Anyway, he got caught.
God, that's not a hut, that's an elder.
So anyway, they get caught and they disappear, making strange, crinkly, rustly noises. Merrick, you're a little worried your guy, ran off by himself. You come around a corner looking for your boss, and there he is all by himself, sticking his butt around a corner, wiggling it. It's best maybe just to back away slowly.
I turn around and do my best impression of a wall.
Okay. Dr. Leth.
Yes.
Actually, I'll ask for perception all around, but you're all looking for different things. But I will have from Poser and Zin and Dr. Leth a perception check, please.
No, yeah.
Okay. Perception of 17.
Okay.
Perception of 15.
Zin?
And perception of 9.
Okay, let's start with Zin. Scouting, scoping the area. Very primitive. No modern weapons, no tech, no scrounging, salvaging tech. I mean, even natives caught on mudballs loot crash ships and, use the metal for like digging tools or anything. And these guys they literally use the equivalent of a dead tree to live in. You couldn't have any more sort of settlement that's like one with the land than these guys. They have a little cooking fire, sure, besides a pup tent, like there's no metal. After the war, they could have scrounged all kinds of stuff not using any of it. I mean, even with Mandrake here, who could show them how to use implements, nada. Very traditional, primitive village. Dr. Leth, an opportunity, perhaps, of study, depending on how long you stay here at the village, because you see what you believe to be male and female in their prime, and even some elderly. Some sitting together, huddled in like a private conversation, their faces pressed together and their tendrils wiggling like they're having some kind of intense little conversation or reacting emotionally to what each other's saying in their guttural language. Most sit around the fire. You even see a couple of females come, meekly out from behind a hut and just kind of like come out into the open and kind of fall over each other like they're not being spotted and then run off somewhere, making weird noises. Perhaps this is an opportunity for study, your main field, your romantic xenology.
Yes, that would definitely require a knowledge of the language. That could be arranged.
The most peculiar thing you do notice is there's no younglings. Everyone here seems to be like in their prime or older. There doesn't seem to be any children. No half-size ones, no running around, no one playing. The actual mood of the place is actually quite quiet and almost somber. Poser.
Yeah.
You look around, same thing I told these guys. No kids, no tech. Use the Force? Dig a little deeper, perhaps? Or are you worried about being exposed? Now, there's a Force user out here within kilometers of you, and every time you use it, you could expose yourself. But if you want more detail, especially things that are concealed, Force is the way to go. So there's a trade-off, for the extra knowledge. There's always a risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at this point, since he knows he's surrounded by Force users, he's going to feel at least slightly more comfortable.
Okay.
So he is going to use the Force.
All right.
And natural 20 for a 27.
Okay. You reach out with your senses, and the entire village lights up. All the life forms have I wouldn't say like a strong connection with the Force, and they're all strong with the Force, but they all have a workable living Force within them, and not the same kind of feel that you get from Rahal and Merrick and a tree and a rock. Like people that actually bend the flow of the energy coming into them. They shape it, and it waits. And that's the telltale sign of a Force user, is the energy, they don't just radiate living Force energy or take it into them, or like, wading in the river. There's that sort of nexus point where you sense it inside them, where they're trapping it, releasing it, sort of getting up on top of this wave and riding it, flowing with it kind of vibe going through them, channeling it. And you can see it in all of them. It's weak from like your standards or compared to like a Jedi at the temple, but it's there. These guys are Force sensitive and probably have a couple of Force powers. All of them, the entire village. And one you sense is actually strong in the Force, and it's here. You sense their presence.
Interesting.
And they ping back. Do I sense a Force user? Do you try to mask yourself?
Hello.
No.
No? I'm here.
Well, okay, think about it from Poser's perspective. He spent like 3 months without any like connection to anyone else that's a Force user, except for like trying to dodge all Imperials. So when he walks into a village and gets hit by this many at least Force sensitive people and someone that's fairly strong in the Force, he's overwhelmed. Like, he doesn't even try to hide it because he doesn't even think about it. He's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
He really wasn't expecting this.
It's almost tangible, like a song, like a vibe. You can practically hear it. It sounds like a low hum, almost like a didgeridoo. Just that wave of a vibe, of a bassy wah coming at you type of thing. It's how you possibly view the Force and have translated into your own music. It's almost like this village has a Force song, and they're not currently singing it, but it's in their thoughts, it's in their hearts, and you can feel it, and it's intoxicating, but it's comforting. Like you said, it's, the simplistic view.
The real reason I stayed in this village is because I always feel like Beyonce's "If You Like It, You Should Have Put a Ring on It" is always in my chest.
Yeah. You guys turn and Mandrake just pops up beside us like out of nowhere, blink, and he's got this old, shriveled up fungus guy with him. and he's like bent over half the height of the ones in their prime. He's scarred. One of his arms looks dried up and withered and semi-petrified. A lot of the tendrils and glowing little LED fern lights on his face and hair are all dried up and winked out kind of thing. He wears a different color war paint, like a gold-yellow war paint, as opposed to the pale blue that the warrior braves wear, or just like the muddish brown that most of the graying, camouflaging brown and pink that the rest of the tribe wears. It's almost like they're color coordinated. The families blend in to the pink and the brown that's around them. The warriors stand out like they're trying to draw attention with the bright blue, but it's still one of the natural colors of the land. And this guy has like a golden brown war paint. He's old, shriveled, and Mandrake pops up with his comment, and this old guy just literally steps right up to the first of you, comes right over to Poser, who's lost in contemplation. He locks eye sockets with
you.
You guys came up with that term, not me. I'm not being blamed. Has a long contemplative look at the guy liner. Looks at your head, your face, looks you up and down. Now, maybe perhaps because he's the first alien and it gets faster after this process, or maybe he's taken interest in Poser, but he does seem to look at him for quite a long moment. And then he moves down the line, looks at Dr. Leth, looks you up and down, tilts his head, studies you for a moment, looks over at Merrick and Rahal, who are now returning from behind the cabin, brookback mushroom, whatever's going on back there. Rahal wearing his best suit. Rahal. Mandrake has returned, and what must obviously be the leader is sizing up your party. What do you do? Merrick, you see this as well.
I finish eating the chips, so keep talking.
Okay. Merrick, a new player, has entered the field. Mandrake has brought this old shriveled up fungus guy, and he's looking over the party as if he was like a sergeant inspecting troops. He's literally like going, using his body and positioning to sort of force them to like stand shoulder to shoulder and look them over and walk along behind them and come around the front again. And then he sees you guys and just kind of stands there and waits for you guys to catch up, come over. What do you do?
I'm going to have to hold tight.
Okay. Just stick close to Rawl and...
Yep.
Okay. Comes up to you. Same thing. Now, you didn't see him look at Poser with a whole bunch of interest, but he gives you about the same interest as the doctor. Looks you up and down, takes in your size, looks you in the face, the arms, looks at your weapon, comes around behind you. Just careful not to touch you. Come back around. And then turns his attention. Okay. Kind of makes a grunt noise. Comes to Rahal. Looks you up and down. It's almost like the left side of his tendrils kind of go up a little bit like an eyebrow as he takes in your shimmering white pinstripe suit.
Exactly the response I was hoping for.
Nailed it.
No.
+1 to sparkle like a diamond.
Yep.
Looks you up and down. Mandrake, you're waiting for probably one party to address the other so that you can translate. But right now, the old shaman just seems to be looking at what you've brought. He's sort of sizing them up and probably going to come to a decision whether they're welcome here or not. These people are simple, coarse, rough. They're not a gentle people. I mean, they're civilized, but they're predatory. These guys are harsh, but they're honest. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he's looking up this guy up and down, and then just kind of, I wouldn't say dismissively, but shakes an arm at him and goes back down the line, giving everybody a glance, and then looks back at Poser. Poser. The guy isn't speaking. You've heard these people talk. You've heard these people go, yeah. You've even heard Mandrake do it, right?
Yeah.
But when he comes back around and looks you over again, you swear you almost hear like these whispers around him, this guttural whispering, as he looks you over a second time. Mandrake. It looks like the old shaman has mistaken Poser for the party leader. Do you want to rectify that? Or the party spokesman?
Sure. I'll say, you might be focusing on the wrong one, Chief.
Okay. So he snaps ahead at you, like he's not wrong, but he does immediately drop staring at Poser and walk over to you and, gesture. Okay, who should I be talking to?
I'm going to turn to the party. Which one of you is best situated for this? I guess that'd be the medic.
We call for a ritual sacrifice. You don't know what he wants.
Of course. I'm going to turn to the party and say, listen, if you could spare your if you could spare your resume and just say that you could help with a medical background, I think the chief is going to be able to welcome you into this village. It's not much, but it's shelter. You don't want to be without shelter.
Ooh, some hidden help from Mandrake. Awesome. So, who represents the party as if we didn't know?
Well,
Eric, step forward.
Who reflects 99% of all the sunlight? Who could it be?
who's got 2 thumbs and a reflective suit?
Camera snaps over to Rahul.
I do.
You haven't seen the latex heavy metal suit that Poser wears.
Yeah.
Does a hazmat suit count?
Yeah, really. We look back at the doctor. He's just pulling out a hazmat suit. Right, meet the locals. The standard protocol. He's so trusting. Do you actually have a hazmat suit in your gear?
I do not. No,
Oh,
that's a bit
that would be
too much.
awesome. The great
Next
big
level,
bright
next
orange suit. The ventilator that keeps it puffed up like the Stay Puft guy. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. So, Rahul.
Yes.
Mandrake is asking you guys who speaks for the party at least.
Well, I'd have to say in most circumstances that would be me, but I guess it depends on what you're asking.
Jeff, do I reveal that thing that you wrote about and why I'm bothering?
You already gave them a big break. Let's let this go a little bit. See how the chief likes them. You could use that as a bargaining chip to maybe churn, before in case the chief just suddenly turns them away or something. You care for these people. They have given you shelter. They've made you one of their own. Underneath your actual shirt and stuff, you actually have, honorary war paint. You don't have to show it, but when they painted you, that ceremony, you became part of the tribe.
Yeah.
Okay. Represent. So, pretty much now you kind of like, this guy is harsh and solid and large and in charge. You don't have much voice. You just, at this point, now you've introduced them, you pretty much got to take a step back and let the shaman interact and just act as translator, and then, maybe get that out later or that type of thing. So, anyway, do you guys indicate Rahul's your man?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. I just need some sort of validation here.
Okay.
I've neither confirmed nor denied that in any instance of that question being asked.
Okay.
I see your wife. I shall tell her hello.
We totally skipped Zin. Damn ghillie suit. I went right past him. The guy was just like, he's either gone, climbing up on a mushroom for the high ground, or totally missed Frank. Same thing as Merrick and the doctor, Frank. This guy just comes, looks you over, stares intently into your face, walks around you 180 once, takes note of your eyes and your weapon, and then moves on to the next dude. The only one he seemed very curious about was Poser, and now he's talking to Mandrake and Rawl. So, let's have some fun. I'm going to talk about this guy openly, and Connor can decide how perfectly, or putting in his own 2 cents, is he going to translate what I say. Just keep in mind, okay, you guys do not understand a word I say, so you got to go with what Connor says. However, because you can hear what I say, I'll let you, not metagame, but I'll let you play it up that, like, his posturing and his gesturing and his attitude and everything may kind of tip you off that the translation is not getting over perfectly. I mean, if he jumps up and down and points at you guys and points at the fire and Mandrake just casually says he's upset, you'd believe him. You know what I mean? But if he's shaking a stick and holding up 3 fingers and he says only one of you can live, you might doubt that Connor's being on the you know what I'm saying here, guys? And we'll have a little fun. Okay? Everybody ready?
Oh, all ready.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Rahul. Does anyone wish to help Rahul with the up-and-coming skill challenge of convincing the shaman for help? Whether it's shelter, gear, intel on the enemy, which appears to be a common enemy at this point. Does anyone have any sort of persuasion to give him a chance? Help him out.
I'm supposing knowledge tactics would not help.
It could. If we start talking about village defenses or whatever, that could come into play, but...
At persuasion, I have a higher bonus in, but I'm not trained. But
you're a
knowledge
sexy
skills-
motherfucker.
Any knowledge skill I got, don't worry about that.
Yeah, he's
And yes,
rocking that
I do
hazmat
have
suit,
that.
eh? He's a good-looking dude. Sorry, you saying?
I'm nearly as white as you in this situation, so fair enough.
Yeah, just to quickly remind
Take
the audience
advantage of
that
some of our
Arcadian has
natural
white eyes.
privilege.
Yeah, white eyes and white hair, the alien race Arcadian, not talking about something else. Just wanted to point that out to the audience.
You frickin' supremacist.
Just saying there's, dude's got white hair and white eyes. It's not a snowflake reference. So, all right, here we go. Mandrake, okay? I think this guy is actually played best in the third person anyway, okay? So the shaman seems a little perturbed that he's taken away from his, shamanistic studies. He wants to know what they're doing here. He asks Mandrake.
The way that I have been told, the story that I've been presented, I guess we could call them adventurers, for lack of better terminology. They had a little bit of trouble out in the space where I came from, and I'll point towards the sky very dramatically. And it was how do I say this to a tribalman?
I know what the people.
There was an accident. Are they aware of space travel?
Yeah. The Imperial.
Oh, then yes.
People come from the sky. Now, there are, settlements and cities here on Felucia, but it literally is sort of like the North American Indian with people coming off a Spanish boat or type of thing. They're just like, oh, wow, we know what you are, but what the hell? That kind of thing. And we're, hiding, and we just keep to the simple life, We may not understand all their ways and everything, but we know where they come from. They know where they are and how to avoid them. We get it.
All right. In that case, I say something along the lines of, well, they were having some trouble out in space. Their ship crashed. They landed. They were wounded. There was a little bit of a mix-up, and there was a casualty. Has he been informed of the casualty yet?
Not unless you told him.
I'll hold out the ceremonial spud, I guess you call it, the stalk.
Yep.
That I harvested from the fallen.
Yep.
And I'll
from
say,
Shiitake, the brave warrior.
Shiitake.
Shiitake is dead.
The ceremony has been done. There's nothing left to grieve.
Okay. He nods in understanding and thanks you that you looked after that kind of thing.
Who is responsible for his death? Shiitake's own actions? My tribe? Or these invaders?
Honestly, it sounds like we're at fault. Not we, but it sounds like the tribe is at fault on this one.
He's aware that the young guys went off to hunt imperials and stuff, or that they wanted to, it was discussed around the tribal circle, and the shaman's like, stay here, stay safe, we have our own problems, don't go looking for trouble, right? And a couple of hot-headed young guys ran off. Oh yeah, we're hunting, we're just doing our regular stuff, and then they're like, let's make an ambush and jump these guys, and that kind of thing. So okay, so he's aware of the situation, how it unfolded. He doesn't know that they actually ambushed, set it off. Is that what you tell him?
In that case, I'd like to change the answer to say, I don't think there is fault to place here.
Okay.
It seemed like an honest accident, a misunderstanding.
All right.
That's right. Blame the jungle.
He does ask you, how did it happen? He didn't fall, he wasn't hurt, he wasn't taken down by the local rancor,
I pull out my BC Rich Warlock guitar and proceed to play Cannibal Corpse's Hammer Smashed Face.
Oh.
Poser joins in.
He nods in understanding. Okay. All right.
So he gets metal. I like this guy.
Okay. So, guys, the chief or this old shaman guy and Mandrake have a long conversation, and they point at you guys a couple times. Mandrake seems sympathetic and non-committal. He also waves at you guys, but there's a lot of shoulder shrugging and, what are you going to do kind of stuff, right? So, if he's defending your case, but he's certainly not pointing and drawing his finger across his neck and pointing at the fire and making rubby tummy noise, none of that crap. So, you're not sure if he's defending you, but at least he's not making your case worse. And then he turns directly to Rahal. And what he says now, Mandrake, you're assuming that the shaman wants translated directly. I am told you are... I don't want to sound like it's a trap. We're not going to do that anymore. Sorry.
I am told you are not part of the evil pale...
How would you describe a plastic white stormtrooper?
Yeah, it's not easy, is it?
Yeah. Well, I don't say pale or white because then we're just getting all those jokes again.
I would call them. I'd call them the bone mold men. They're covered in what looks like bone.
Oh, okay.
Like
the face
I
looks
like
like
that.
machine.
That's good. All right. Okay. So,
I'm told you are not part of the bone mold men that come and raid the village and look for us constantly.
And I'll turn to the party and say, fortunately for you guys, the chief is also not a big fan of the Empire. It looks like he might be willing to go lenient on you for the earlier fatalities.
Hey, man, that wasn't our fault. We was just defending ourselves.
It sounds like he understands that, and I'll turn back to the chief and I'll say they were just defending themselves.
okay.
But they are not of... I noticed, man of the Drake, you did not answer my question. Are they with the Empire or are they not?
Are they with
I'm
the
sorry, I
bone
thought
men
you
or
just
not?
said that he was informed. No.
Okay. Right. Next question.
What do they want here? Like, why are they here now? Why'd you bring them back?
Yeah.
Why'd you bring them back?
A little bit of shelter, a little bit of exploiting.
Okay.
You see, and I'll point towards the doctor and I'll say he might be able to help us with our little predicament.
Okay. He talks about the specific predicament that we're under and asks you claim that this one can actually be a help.
You sure?
I'm not sure, but I think it's a possibility.
Alright. And what do they want from us? What do they want from my village? Just shelter and food? In exchange for helping us?
Well, they're also looking for parts to repair their ship, but if you want my opinion, I don't think they're going to find it here. Maybe on one of the outposts, for sure, but they're not necessarily going to want to just beeline straight for there, at least not without knowing what's out there waiting for them.
Where are they going? Back to their
Or
ship?
I point to space out there.
Rahal, you get the idea that no one's asking you questions. Like they're just going back and forth and having all kinds of conversations. And the shaman is asking Mandrake, and Mandrake is doing his best to answer a bunch of the shaman's questions, but no one's asking you anything.
Hint taken.
No, that's fine. Just roll with it.
Yep.
Rahal's
I'll
a pro.
just-
He knows when. You're not blocking him on purpose, but like I said, you just kind of got into the moment of, you're actually trying to help them. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to interrupt their conversation. I have no idea what they're saying.
No, but the thing is, they're not talking to you. So in your gut, you're saying, this is not a negotiation. So you don't you want to prod
just
Mandrake
kinda-
going, what's going on? Or
No, I'll just kind of, look towards their conversation and just kind of do the whole, oh, pardon me.
You are excused. Listen, the chief is not necessarily satisfied with the answer of away. Where are you guys heading?
Well, like I said, we're just trying to find parts to fix our ship. I don't think we're going to find anything like that around here, but we detected an imperial outpost not too far from here, and I figured that they probably have the parts we needed.
I think there's a better chance of the parts being there than maybe anywhere else on this planet, but I also think you better be careful before sticking your neck out to Imperial Outpost. And I'll turn back to the chief and I'll say Imperial Outpost for resources.
Okay. Now, the chief would be grateful for supplies, food, medicine, weapons, and very grateful if these guys could, use their skill set, as you had already indicated, to solve our problem. He says to you,
Let's see what they can do first, then I'll, consider helping them.
With intel, as it were, because that's what the party needs, is possibly information on the outpost or whatever.
All right. I'll turn back to the group.
It's tribal custom, like you've come to our home, so what gift do you bring, and then you see what kind of hospitality you get. It's not the caravan thing. It's like, oh, newcomer, sit down, tell us a story. Here's a pot of soup. No, it's like, what do you want? You're a drain on our resources. So unless you have something to give or trade, you're just a drain on my resources.
Turning to the group, I'm going to go ahead and say something along the lines of, look, I don't think you guys are going to be able to stay here without being able to at least bring something to the table. Now, I think you guys will be able to find your way to assist. Just from what I've seen already, you guys seem like you're competent enough. And luckily, it probably won't be something as detrimental as hunting. That being said, you won't necessarily be allowed to stay without at least proving. Otherwise, you're just a waste on resources.
So, Rahal.
Yes.
More than shiny beads are needed to win over this chief. Not like the last planet, they just like fell over for your pocket lint. No, these guys need actual, help.
What do you need?
Well, resources, so that's food and weapons. And Mandrake's hinted at some kind of skill set that you guys happen. He actually pointed out the doctor, and that actually, you actually watch the shaman kind of look at the doctor suddenly with a new light, like, oh, really? That kind of thing.
Okay. So I'll kind of pull the party together and do a little powwow. Be like, listen, they sent us with enough resources to last a week, and we should really, only be out here for another day or two tops. So we can certainly spare some food and some water. I'm not sure about giving these guys weapons, though.
I assure you, even if they did have use for their weapons, they would be efficient enough without them.
Isn't he great? He actually got right in the powwow because he's human. You guys didn't even realize he's like in there, shoulder to shoulder. You guys, yeah.
You said you gathered the group together.
I know, he said grab the party. I picture him stepping away from Mandrake, and it's like, then you're just right in there. No, I want that to stay. That's awesome. He's just like still in there. Hey, no, human, take me with you.
I need to translate.
Anyway, keep going, Rahal.
As for skill sets, I'm pretty sure we've got just about all our bases covered, so you guys don't mind helping out a bit. It seems like a pretty decent place to camp out. We'll be safe at least. Don't got to worry about no rancors coming and munching on us in our sleeps.
Sorry.
I do feel it prudent to ask which skills they need. They haven't exactly explained that, have they?
No, but I think we're a pretty adaptable bunch. I don't think there's too much out there in this galaxy that we couldn't handle, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Okay. Mandrake, that sounds like they're agreeing. Zin, it's starting to get dark. And in your professional scout opinion, give me a survival roll.
Alrighty. Let's see here. 26. It's a natural 20.
Yeah, you're pretty certain they've got 6 hours to go. There's no way you're going to make the outpost by nightfall. It's not getting dark just yet, but in from your point of view, like once the sun gets to that sort of, like it's not even twilight, but you know what I mean? It's like, you do not have enough light to burn to get, no. You guys would be caught out in the open.
And, while this conversation's kind of going on, I would have kind of drifted towards the back of the room, just kind of to look outside, kind of get a feel for the place in case we need to bug out and hurry, because I'm still not trusting these guys too much.
You're out in the open.
Even though everyone looks like we're, playing nice and everything.
Okay. But you are out in the open.
Okay. Just tell them whatever trading we're going to do, we best make it quick. We want to make sure that we get lodgings for ourselves. There's no way we'll make it where we're going before night falls.
All right. So, Mandrake, sounds like these guys are willing to, ask what you need and try to provide it. So you tell the chief?
I thought I already did.
No, these guys were having a little powwow deciding what they could do, so I'm assuming now it's going to... Rahal turns to you and says, yeah.
I reassure the chief. It looks like they'll be able to prove themselves up to the challenge.
Okay. Chief turns to you, says, put him to work. Tell that one to come with me, pointing at Dr. Leth.
Chief, what do you want me to have them work on?
Well, there's repairs, there's, daily tasks, these guys and their knowledge can help with. They could repair some roofs, they could fortify the villages, all kinds of stuff that you can have them do.
Okay.
Defense of the village has been a problem lately because of the imperial incursion, type of thing, so.
I'll turn back to our smooth friend and say, we don't need weapons, but if you guys know tactics, I might want to introduce you to some of the village warriors.
Cue Merrick's line. Did somebody say tactics?
I'm rather impressed that Connor actually worded it like that. He was totally fishing for Merrick.
Just didn't want to interrupt.
Nope.
I tried.
Do you need knowledge tactics?
Huzzah. Dr. Leth. The shaman starts wandering off to a back secluded hut. Mandrake tells you to go with him. Cue the montage of earning our pay for the day's rest and meal. Showing, Merrick with like a double line of young braves, and he's, sort of attached a stick bayonet to Sasha, and he's stabbing with it, and they're all doing the trading motion, Rahal showing the ladies how to make more fashionable clothing. Zin helping to fortify actual huts and like putting ladders on the back of the thing for like high ground and making little blinds and working on roofs and such, that type of thing. Dr. Leth The shaman takes you to a hut and a very, very sad sight. Several of the younger Felucian children in the village look like they've fallen ill, and they are deteriorating to the point of paralysis, and they have them laid out, several dozen of them, in one big hut. And they're being tended, and they're being moisturized, and you know what I mean? But it looks like a sick room. There's tiny little shriveled up little fungi kids coughing and rolling around and moaning and gutturally in pain, and some of them just look like they're just so weak they can't even move.
Could it be an infection on an invasive species? I wonder. And I immediately begin pulling out all of the equipment I have.
Okay. Can I?
Doc, there's actually a lot more kids who are sick. We used to have them all in here, but there wasn't much room.
Well, the rest of them.
Well, Doc, they've already passed.
He doesn't even say anything. He just pats you on the back, shakes his head, walks away. Just lets the moment hang.
Well, I suppose I have a full sample. Oh, actually, before you go, though, would it be possible to, with the parental permission, would it be possible to exhume one of the bodies? It would be easier to test such a sample than it would a live specimen, if you understand.
I don't think you understand how this culture works, and that's fine. You just met them. I don't think the parents will mind. Finding a body that's fresh should not be that hard, unfortunately. And I'll a little bit and see if somebody could assist with that.
Okay. So, can I have a treat injury skill, Doctor?
Would you like a knowledge life sciences too?
Yes. That would be helpful.
I'm going to add 5 to that. Okay. I think I can.
Which makes 12.
Which makes 17.
Oh, 17. Okay. It appears the children have succumbed to a virus. The strong, fully grown, I wouldn't say they're immune, but much less likely to succumb. Just like human children are, fall to measles and croup and a whole bunch of stuff that adults can get but rarely do. It's hit these kids hard because they're just younglings. And it's, killed some, and these ones are really, really sick. The good news is, after taking samples of the children, analyzing symptoms with the medical kit that you have, and like you said, I'll even give you bonuses if you can find a body, you should be able to treat them. And it shouldn't be that hard. But you will need to tend them for 8 hours straight to see results.
I've had longer days before.
Okay. And we'll leave it here as one of the bereaved parents is brought to you by Mandrake, and this parent basically shows you the spot where he died. There's a little bare straw mat pointing, this is where my son died, kind of thing, and then waves you to follow him into the jungle, and it's toss, off the proverbial, into the deep jungle. Insects, plants, predators.
Predators?
Yep. Far enough away it doesn't attract predators closer to the village, but a way that the body will become one with Gaia and the planet and that kind of thing.
Oh, those kind of predators.
Yeah.
I was going to keep an eye out for xenomorphs. Bad joke.
I can dig it.
Anyway.
I was kind of terrified you were going the child predator route, and,
Oh, no. Dark place. Dark place.
Yeah, worse than tons of dead children. Child predator.
Well, yeah, they're already dead. What else? It can't get much worse at that point. I mean, come on.
Actually, no one...
you're not wrong.
No one had died until Connor Mandrake had implied that they are, and I just ran with it. You could have saved all the children, but... Thanks to awesome role playing.
The darkest future.
That's right. Thanks to some awesome role play. And you come across what's left of a body. And kneeling down, pulling your visors off, all CSI.
Yeah?
The doc nods and thinks he can do something with this. And we'll see you next time.